dun, 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 dun. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Dun, 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 dun. Shadow walks faster than you. You don't really know what to do. Do you think that you're not alone? Do you think that you're immune to it's gonna get the best of you? It's gonna lift you up and let you down. It will defeat you, then teach you to get back up. After it takes away all that you've learned to love. Your reflection is a blur, out of focus but in confusion. The frames are suddenly burned in the end of a roll of illusion. A ghost waiting his turn. Now I can see right through you. It's a warning that nobody heard. Yes, it will teach you to love what you're afraid of. After it takes away all that you learned to love. But you don't always have to hold your head higher than your heart. You better hope you're not alone. 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 You better hope you're not so. Yo, what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Jamal Pope, aka J Phoenix, and welcome to the moon in Leo, while the sun is in Scorpio. Very interesting moon. The song of the transit is Hope by Jack Johnson. Was the song I was going to make for the moon in Cancer. I decided to shift it to Leo because it made more sense for this energy. Let's talk about it, right? As soon as the moon comes into Leo, it's going to oppose the executioner Pluto in Aquarius. I just snorted. And then when the moon leaves Leo, it's going to square Uranus in Taurus. So we're going to get like this double whammy sandwich of this Uranian energy. The executioner Pluto making this major opposition to this moon immediately upon coming into it. This is definitely going to have a transformative quality to the way that we appreciate and approach this energy. This moon in Leo wants to feel excited, it wants to feel the passion, it wants to feel young again, it wants to feel like a child again. It wants to laugh, it wants to play, it wants to appreciate the romances and the love and all that sort of things. But it's going to be tough to kind of feel into that energy, especially with everything that's going on right now. It's going to oppose this Pluto and immediately be met with this challenge of, okay, but think about this. How are we transforming as a collective? How are we transforming in the way that we give to other people without really expecting much in return? How are we transforming in the way that we view the world and humanitarian stuff? How do we transform these ideas that we have? These unique ideas and our unique individuality. How do we transform this in a world that seeks to put us into these boxes and different definitions? How do we do that? And then this moon is going to square Venus in Scorpio, which is going to make it even more difficult to try and connect with other people because Venus does not like to be in Scorpio. So people are going to be putting their ice walls up. Meanwhile, this moon in Leo is just like, I just want to have fun. I just want to appreciate life. I just want to enjoy the fervor of life. I just want to laugh. But this Venus in Scorpio, is going to be like, I'm not really feeling it. That's not what I want to do. It's going to be deep. It's going to be a little bit more on the intimate side of things. And it might be harder to find that intimacy, if you will, with people, with ourselves. And then as this moon continues on, it's going to make awkward aspects, to all this energy in Pisces, and then it will square Uranus and Taurus right at the end, which means that this moon will not be going void of course. What is a void of course moon? This happens when the moon reaches the end of a sign and it doesn't make any other major aspects to any other planets. So it's like this last little moment of kind of almost freedom for the moon to really express itself without having to talk or communicate with another planet. But because of where Uranus is at the end of Taurus, we're not going to get that opportunity. Instead, we're sandwiched in between this Pluto in Aquarius and this Uranus in Taurus, which is really going to bring home and kind of ground us in a way, honestly. Because the opposition of Pluto, yeah, it's in Uranus. Uranus rules the skies. It rules the air. It's not the only air sign, but it rules the skies. It rules the air. It rules space. It rules out there, alien stuff. And then the ruler of that sign, it will square right at the end, which is on Earth. And Uranus doesn't like to be there. It doesn't like to be in Taurus. Much rather be up in the sky. But now Uranus is grounded. And we gotta remember that Uranus is an old man. It doesn't want to deal with all this other stuff. It doesn't want to deal with all of these strange intricacies. It doesn't want to deal with people in an ironic way, especially while it's in Taurus. This is the freaking hermit that's living in a cabin in the woods somewhere. Doesn't want to have to deal with it, but he's grounded. He's on Earth. He doesn't have his full energy. But this is about how can we look at our value system and the things that we have manifested. How can we look at these things and transform them in a positive way? This Moon in Leo can give us some hope. It can give us some courage to live life boldly and passionately despite the fact that it's not really making great aspects. And it is going to, of course, square over to the sun. So we'll have a third quarter square smack dab in the middle of this too. It's like biting into a sandwich and that you're like really excited about, only to discover that it has tomato in it. At least for me, because I don't really like tomato. Not large slices of tomato. But it's like biting into a sandwich and you're getting something, you're like, ah. That song talks about your shadow and how you can't outrun your shadow. And we all have a shadow that's running faster than us, or at the very least is always walking behind us. And a lot of times we want to turn a blind eye to our shadow, individually, community-wise, and as an overall collective. But we're not going to be given the opportunity to outrun our shadow, to outrun the ghost of our past and everything like that. We're going to have to come into direct collision with these things. And once that moon goes into Virgo, here on Wednesday, like in the afternoon or so, reality really starts to settle in as we build up to this new moon in Scorpio. And as we go further into this holiday season, the reality of everything is going to start to set in. So that's why I picked that song, because you do have to have hope. Hope is a very powerful energy. Sometimes I feel like we'll look at hope, and out of the positive emotions, sometimes it's like the last rung of the ladder or the bottom rung of the ladder. And it's sort of like, oh, you don't want to just stay in hope forever because then you can't ascend to those other positive emotions, if you will. But hope is also still the torch and the flame that can get us through these darker moments. That is the energy of this transit. It's that even though things may seem a little bit bleak and a little bit tough and a little bit hard, that we can still find a reason to laugh. We can still find a reason to connect. We can still find a reason to enjoy and appreciate life for all that it offers us. So that I always encourage, whenever the moon goes into the sign, to find something to laugh at. Get together with people and just have a fun time. Watch a comedy special. Do something fun. Do something that you used to do when you were a child that you haven't done before. When was the last time you went on a slide or you went to go swinging? Do something like that. That's the energy that you're going to need to get you through these moments and just to get through life in general, right? So like I said, this moon is not going to catch a break while it's in Leo. It's going to want it to catch a break because people are going to want to go on vacation, because Leo happens during the summertime, and that's when everyone's taking vacations and vacating their life. We're not going to be able to vacate our life, even though we're going to want to, and we're going to feel like we need to escape in a way, especially when that moon makes that awkward 150-degree angle to all of that Pisces energy. It'll quincunx Saturn, it'll quincunx Neptune, and just when the moon thought that it was going to get a break, nah, it's got to square Uranus. And you know what's even crazier about the square to Uranus is the fact that pretty much at the exact moment that this moon squares this Uranus, Mars will have moved past Mercury in Sagittarius, which is now retrograde. Just ever so slightly, barely down to the minute, it's going to move past this Mercury, which is even going to even more so want us to be like the ram and ram our way through situations without really thinking things through and without taking the reality of the situations into consideration. We're gonna wanna just act and move forward without thinking things through. When really, this is all a major, huge recalibration, and every single person is going through this recalibration. So, it's crazy that that square with the moon of Uranus, which will be pretty much exact, happens the moment that Mars moves past Mercury. So your actions are going to move past your mind. There's a positive thing and a negative thing here. It's a double-edged sword, because sometimes thinking is inefficient. Sometimes thinking keeps you stuck. And this can be a time, especially with this moon, making all these aspects, people can be overthinking everything, and it keeps them in this paralysis state, and they can't really move forward. If you are able to have fun with whatever it is, though, if you're able to find the humor in things too, then you know that is something that you can move forward with. If not that you can't ever engage with it again, but maybe just pause for a moment and think about it just a teeny bit. Don't overthink it to the point where you're stuck in your paralysis, but ultimately this comes down to our intuition. So you have to trust yourself. And this is about understanding that hope is very, very necessary. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to have hope. Just because it's on the lower rung of the positive vibrations, if you will, it is still that first step. Sometimes you just need to take the first step. Even if you have to fake it till you make it. That's the thing about Leo energy too. Everyone thinks that Leo is just always so confident and always so courageous. Sometimes they gotta fake it till they make it, just like anybody, but sometimes Leo has to fake it until they make it. And some people don't like that because it makes it obnoxious, but then you talk to a Leo, their 12th house is Cancer, right? They're far more emotional than you think that they are. Far more emotional, and the emotions run deep as well, and it's very, very spiritual as well, the way that they connect with that energy. So just take that into consideration for this moon in Leo. I think it can be a very good transit for transformation, but like I said, sometimes we need to just take that first step. Sometimes we need to just light that candle, whether it's a candle, whether it's a torch, whether it's massive ablaze. You can still light a small candle and make your way out of a dark room. You may not be able to see super far in front of you, but you can trust and have hope and know ultimately that you can make it out of that room. And this is not a race either, especially with Mars moving past this Mercury retrograde. It's not a race. You're gonna see some people that just shoot out of the cannons trying to make things happen. Then their car is gonna break down, and they're not gonna really get that far. So this is not about shooting out of the cannon. This is in many ways a slow and steady wins the race, or at the very least, just remain consistent. So that's what I have for you guys for this moon in Leo, sun in Scorpio. I trust that this message will assist you on your journey. Hope by Jack Johnson, song of the transit. But, you know, look up your own songs. I always encourage you to look up your own songs and see how those communicate and talk to you and speak to you during this time that we're in. So anyways, y'all take care, stay blessed. I will see you all next time. Later.